Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers, sisters, friends, viewers of Ikra TV. Welcome to another edition of Real Talk. I'm your host, Iqbal Bana. As I say every week, I come into your house, invading your privacy, but in the process, hopefully, bringing issues of interest to you and the wider community as well. Today's program is going to be about foster care, but before I move into the main subject, can I just make a reminder that there's a group of Muslim families and individuals who are currently in Palestine, in Tel Aviv. They went there over a week and a half ago to visit Masjid al-Aqsa, and they were supposed to come back a few days ago, but because of all the trouble that is happening now, they have been sort of forced to stay there. And today, I think they managed to move away from Tel Aviv into Lebanon, or Jordan, and they're desperately trying to get back. Quite a lot of them are elderly. One, I've been told, is a dialysis patient, and they're begging the British government to do something to try and bring them back. And at the moment, those words are not falling on deaf ears. So can I urge everyone to contact their members of parliament and try and put some pressure on our government to try and bring our brothers and sisters mainly from Bradford. I think most of them are from Bradford. There's about 25 of them, to bring them back as soon as possible, particularly those who are the elderly, and particularly the family who has somebody who's, as I've been told, is on dialysis and needs dialysis treatment. And this is something that is really worrying, that while all these missiles have been flying around between Israel and Iran, that these people were caught in the middle of that fight, and they were quarantined into the hotel that they were in, and now they're trying to desperately get out of Palestine. And it was the Bradford Muslim Women's Council who were part of the trip, organizers of the trip, and I got messages from them to say, we are stuck here. Please, everyone, if you can help, please try and put some pressure on the politicians to try and bring our people back as soon as possible. So if you can, please do so, and also pray for the people of Palestine and Gaza. And remember, they're not all Muslims, they're Christians, they're Jews as well within Gaza. So let's pray for all of them, that peace comes on them, and that these atrocities and the abomination that is going on by the Israeli government is ended as soon as possible. So let me come back to the main event and the main issue that I want to talk about today. We have spoken about this many, many times before, and that is the need for more, particularly Muslim foster carers. Foster caring is something that is one of those challenges that faces all communities. We know that there are many, many children out there who, no fault of their own, for reasons that sometimes are unexplained, maybe the parental death or loss of family life, breakup in families, etc., end up having no families of their own and end up in the care of the local authority system. All these children are always looking for, and the local authorities are looking for, somebody to become foster carers, to provide these children with a family life and atmosphere, and give them some structure within which they can live and grow, and nurture them as part of their own families. And I've had this program many times. Shadi Hussain has been on my program on a number of occasions to talk about the need, particularly of Muslim foster carers. And today I have some very eminent guests, two of whom have been on my program before, and that is Tariq Ali from Bradford Council, who works for social services, and Shahid Khalid, who was here last time, who is now 4 years running become a foster carer, and she shared her experience of why she wanted to become a foster carer and the hoops that she had to go through. Like everything else, it's not just going to happen automatically. You have to prove yourself that you have the capacity, the ability, and the will to do it. And then once you become a foster carer, everyone that I've spoken to have found the experience extremely valuable and in life enhancing for themselves as well. I'm today joined by another gentleman called Micah. Micah, welcome as well. Thank you for coming. Khalid, thank you for coming. Assalamu alaikum. Shaheen, thank you for coming. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. For you two, second time around. Micah, it's the first time for you.
First time.
You're a recent foster carer as well.
I am.
Yeah. Khalid, I mean, before we started the program, I asked you how many children in the local authority area of Bradford City Council are on the sort of foster or the care register, I presume.
At the current time, I believe there are around about 1,500 children within the looked after system.
Right.
Most of those children are either within foster care or they are living with family and friends.
Right.
But because of problems with them not being allowed to live with their immediate family, they're usually living with grandparents or sort of extended family and sometimes friends. There are a number of those children that are living with estranged foster carers, and some of those children are also within children's homes.
So those who are already in foster care, beyond that, you have you have children living in local authority accommodation, I presume.
That's correct, yeah.
Care homes, etc., I presume, right? Children's homes, right? Do you know roughly how many there are in that? I mean, sector. It's not necessary, but these children, they come from all backgrounds. They come from all communities, don't they?
That's correct. They come from all backgrounds, right across Bradford. Bradford, as you will know, is a very multicultural city. There are, at last count, there are, I think they said, over 25 ethnicities within Bradford at the moment.
Right.
So, whilst we have, the British host community, as it were, within Bradford, there's a large section, obviously, from the Pakistani, Indian background, from the subcontinent. But having said that, there's a lot of Polish people coming in, a lot of Slovakians coming in, Ukrainian people coming in. I think what you were leading up to, round about between about 170 children are from BME communities, so from black and ethnic minority communities. So that seems to be the figure at the moment.
Well, 170 children. Okay, that's fine. I mean, obviously, your role is to try and encourage more and more people to become foster carers. As part of your role is with Bradford Council and the group that you work with. I mean, how do you go about promoting the concept of becoming foster carers in the wider community? I mean, do you hold events? Do you hold surgeries, things like that?
There's a lot of promotion work that's being currently done at the moment within the local communities. Myself and my colleagues, we go out into the communities, so that you might find one of my colleagues stood at Asda or Morrison's handing out leaflets.
Right.
Part of my role is to work with the faith in fostering community, so I go out into temples, into mosques, into churches and promote fostering, because we believe that there's quite a close tie between faith and fostering and doing a good deed for our individual faiths. As well as that, we also go into sort of community events, so there might be a local fair, or there might be a local event on. We try and do some promotion work there.
I mean, I'm not a scholar, Islamic scholar, but a child who has no parents in Islam, in my opinion, would be called an orphan, a yatim, a miskin, or a yatim. And the Prophet ﷺ said very clearly that whoever stands with a child without parents, they're going to be standing with me on the day of judgment like this. And he put his two fingers together.
That's correct.
And he made it absolutely clear that looking after children who have no parents, who have lost their parents, regardless whether they're dead or they're alive or not, if a person looks after a child who has no parents, then that person will be with them on the day of judgment. And he crossed his two fingers together. So this is coming back to the faith issue within the Muslim community. Obviously, it's a very important topic that needs to be addressed. And you said faith in fostering. Is that some sort of a network that has been established?
Not necessarily a network. It's just something that we're taking. It's a project, you could say. So it's just a project that I'm taking the lead on. So I try and meet up with local sort of scholars or local imams to try and get them to talk about the fostering and the need for foster carers as part of their sort of Friday khutbah, for example.
Right, yes.
So similarly with the churches, when they do their sermons on a Sunday, we try and get them to talk about that. Right. And again with the temples, on a Sunday when they have their gatherings, they promote it through their sort of sermon within the temples.
I come from a Gujarati community background. Our mosque is a Gujarati mosque in Batley, and when Shadim Hussain sent me a message a few weeks ago asking for imams to do something on a Friday. For the first time in our history, our Imam Maulana Makra actually read out a statement encouraging the congregation to look at fostering So I'm really grateful to that as well, to Shadim as well. Micah, thank you for coming. It's first time
My
for
pleasure.
you.
My pleasure.
You're a
yes,
foster
Iqbal.
carer. Now you've been a foster carer for 2 years now.
2 years now, yeah, and we absolutely love it, Iqbal. We really, it's the best thing we've done. We
And you have
really
two children under
we
your
have
care at the moment.
two teenagers, yeah.
Why did you become a foster carer? What sort of what thought came to you?
I think it was because, well, my partner and I have a lot of grandchildren,
Right.
and the grandchildren have grown up. They don't want to come to see us as much.
You
because
don't
they
look.
want to
You
be
don't
more-
look that low. I mean,
That's very
I've
kind.
got 7 grandkids and
Well,
a
that's
great
very kind,
grandchild.
but you
but
look
I
great.
look old.
You don't. You look great. So they've grown up, and they don't really want to come as much as they wanted to. We had a few spare bedrooms,
Right.
and we decided to look into it. We went onto Bradford Fostering website,
Right.
pressed the button. Took probably 7 or 8 months to get through the process. Here we are, 2 years on. We've got 2 teenagers, a boy and a girl, and they are fantastic.
All
And
right.
we're a lovely little unit. We're a good
You
little
see, in
family.
my mind, teenagers must be very, very difficult and challenging.
Well, the thing about teenagers, they know everything about everything. So
Well, yeah,
and
now
that's the problem with
Yeah.
them. But they're great. They're good kids. They're
In
good
fact, I
kids
need
that-
to go to them to get advice and guidance.
Oh, we don't use Google anymore. We just
Yeah.
use we just use the teenagers. So, but yeah, honestly, they're good kids, and we
Right.
enjoy having them. And it's the
And
best
how
thing we've
long?
done.
You've been a foster care for 2 years now.
2 years. So
Right.
so 2 years. Yeah, we've had these will be our 4th children. We had
All right.
2 brothers before that, and now they're not related. We've a boy and a girl, and like I say, we enjoy it, and
All right.
and the kids enjoy it as well.
Obviously, your partner enjoys it as well because.
She loves it. She
Yeah,
loves
yeah.
it. Yeah.
No, I'm glad to hear that. And you're looking forward to taking on more, as I presume your capacity is for 2 or 4. Or
Absolutely. Well, it depends on the long term. We've got this 15-year-old long term. So till he wants, as long as he wants to stay, we're happy to have him. So it's fine. So and we'll just we'll see what happens as we move along.
As I say, I mean, Shaheen Khalid was on my program a few months ago, and she was sort of saying that she'd become a foster carer recently, but about 3 years ago.
4 years.
4 years. It's now 4 years, is it?
It's 4 years.
And how many children have you foster cared for?
2, 4, 6, 8.
Oh my
Wow,
goodness,
good girl.
mashallah, subhanallah.
8.
So you're going to be in Jannah well before many other people.
Inshallah.
Huh? According to this hadith. So,
Inshallah.
I mean, I know you said you started off very slowly as well, and it took some time. Like Mike says, there's a process to go through.
Definitely, yeah.
I know the process you went through. There's issues about how big is your house, whether you can accommodate people or not.
Mhm.
But do you have a choice as to what age range do you of children?
So you can choose before you go to. So you go through the process,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go to panel,
Right.
which is a group of people, social workers, other foster carers, and they will sit and have a chat with them, and then you'll ask, do you want 0 years to 18 years old?
Right.
And then then you go through that process, and we are allocated a social worker who will come and sit with us
Right.
and find a match, and just
Right.
find a match for the children and for us as
Do I
well.
remember, Shane, you had quite a young child with you, didn't you, the last time when you came on the program?
But the first sibling who came, they were 4 and 6.
Yeah,
And
they're quite young.
They were quite young.
Yeah.
They stayed with me 2 years.
Right. Because obviously, as a parent and a grandparent, that age the demands are greater, aren't they?
Yeah.
Caring demands, etc. How did you find that? Because you have your own children as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I've got
Yeah.
my children and grandchildren. The little girl, she was the learning difficulties.
Yeah, I remember something. Yeah.
The boy was fine, but because it's only 4 years old, and it's very challenging. But we'll did it.
You
Me
must
and-
have you and your husband.
Yeah,
as
me
well.
and my husband. Yeah,
You must have a lot
it's the
of.
first time as well, and the social workers help me anytime when I call and ask something. School teacher helps.
Right.
That Allah as well. My family helped me as well.
Yeah, you were saying your daughters are also helping you
Yeah,
as well.
no, yeah.
They were taking care of the children when you couldn't do it sometimes. Yeah. And is that still the case with you? And I'm sure your daughters and their extended families are still
Yeah.
helping you.
My son and my daughter-in-laws, whenever I need help, they were there.
Right.
Always there. They own their own children, 3, 4 children, mashallah. But they're still whenever we need it. Like I've got 4 children in my care.
4 children at the moment.
I left my niece now as a babysitting the home.
All right.
At the moment,
What's the age range that you have at the moment?
I've got 8 8, 9, 10, and 12.
Oh wow. You must have a handful. That's a handful there, isn't
Two
it?
siblings who I've got 16 months ago,
Right.
they are 8 and 10, and 2 recently coming 2 months ago, they were 9 and 12.
Right.
So they came in emergency, so they need a place.
All right. Oh,
So-
subhanAllah. May Allah give Auntie even more strength. But I mean, it's quite natural to develop an emotional relationship. And I'm sure you've gone through as
Absolutely,
well. I'm sure you have. And then if they have to go, it must be really, really heartbreaking, isn't it?
That's
the
the
hardest thing,
that's
isn't
the
it?
hardest thing.
That's the hardest thing.
Mike
You've
isn't
gotten
say
to the
that.
right place. There's the reason they go
Mm.
back to where, hopefully, back to their family,
Mm.
and that's kind of the reward.
Yeah.
But you do build an attachment, and that's natural. But
Right.
but our job is really to feed them, look after them, love them, and then if they go back to the parents, that's where they should be. Is with the mum and dad. If
Right.
that works, so we have to look
Tell
at
you,
it like
I mean,
that,
how many
Iqbal.
children actually go back to the parents? Do there quite a few of them go back to the parents, or
I
do they
think
then
it'd be
move on to other
difficult.
things?
I think it'd be difficult to say how many go back to parents. I would probably say maybe half.
Right.
Or half of the
I didn't
children.
realise that. I thought it would be
Yeah.
much less than that.
Yeah, no, I think
Mm.
maybe half
Yeah.
of the children manage to go back.
Oh, right.
Because the department, social care will work with families to try and resolve some of the issues
Yeah.
around why the children were brought into foster care initially.
Right.
And if families manage to turn things around for themselves, then those children will be allowed to return home.
Yeah.
Right.
And ultimately, our goal is for social care and fostering. Our goal is for children to return home. We
Yeah.
strongly believe that for that children belong with their natural parents, with their
Oh,
natural
definitely.
families.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And that's a right place for them. It's
Mm.
just at times that children are deemed to be unsafe in particular situation, and that's when we become involved. And we hope and we try and prioritise, help, support families to change things around so
Mm.
that children can be safe in their care and so that they can return home.
So the primary objective is to try and get the parental families themselves
Absolutely,
Yeah.
ultimately.
to the
yeah.
stage where
Yeah,
they
yeah.
can welcome the children
Mm,
back into.
mm, mm.
Yeah.
I mean, Shaheen, obviously you, like you say, you looked after quite a few children, and when you have to let go of them, how does you and your husband and the wider family who've built up this emotional strength and relationship,
And the
how do you
first,
cope with that?
First, it's very hard.
Yeah.
To tell you the truth, it's very
It
hard. First, because they're the first children came in and they were stayed 2 years and they were very young and they
Right.
grew up here, and we had very much attachment with them, very much. It's very hard time when they have to go for long-term fostering.
Mm.
They didn't go back to the parents, but they went for a long-term fostering because
Right.
they're very young and they're going to stay for longer till they're 16 or 18. So many days, even now, they more than a year they went. I still, when I would call the new children in their room, I still call them the previous
Oh,
children the
right.
name.
Yeah,
And my
yeah.
husband said, "You taking their name?" I said, "No, I didn't." He says, "Yeah, you did." So I still remember them.
Right.
So
I remember the time when you rang me up and you were upset on the phone.
yeah, a phone by Jan, maybe by Tariq. So
Right.
I tell him, I said, "This is a bad thing. I don't know how we're going to cope." But another thing, the day they went, the same night, I've got another part of 2 children.
All right.
So that's a little bit help as well. But
Eases
because
everything.
they are grown and they were Chinese children, and that make me a little bit calm down. But we still remember them.
All right.
We went to see them as well, visit them once after
All right.
they placed a new placement. So we left
So
them now. So
The service tries to support foster
Support.
carers when
Right.
children move on. We try to support them. I mean, if there was just a situation again, what we would do is we would try and give the foster carers, whether it was Shaheen or whether it was Micah, whether it was another foster carer, we'd try and give them a bit of space so that they could sort of come to terms with their own emotional sort of turmoil, as it were.
Right.
And once we would encourage them maybe to take a holiday or something. Different people are different horses for courses. Some
Oh, yeah,
people,
definitely.
what they'll do is they'll say, you know what, Tarek, give us another child and we can focus our attention on that child, and that'll stop us from thinking about the previous child.
Mm.
But some people will say to us, look, we need a bit of space, can you hold on? We don't
Mm.
want any more children just yet. So we work with people and to try and support them as best we can.
Oh, that's excellent.
Very good.
Right, coming back, I mean, I hope you're watching this program and you're finding it interesting. But as I say every week, we'd love to hear your views as well. So if you're a foster parent and have been fostering children for quite a while, or you've just recently started, or would like to consider fostering and would like to ask questions, then please phone in. Phone number is 01274 214 299. It's on your screen. We'd love to have your thoughts, your ideas. And if you, as I say, if you have any questions, I'm sure my guests will be able to answer that. But in terms of, we talked about the number of children for the Black and BME community, Black and minority community. And as you said, Tariq, this is a very multicultural area. The predominant minority community is Pakistani in the Bradford area. So, of the 170 children, I presume quite a substantial proportion would come from the ethnic background, which is Pakistani ethnic background, I presume.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a small amount that are like from Sikh community, but most of them from the Pakistani,
Pakistani community.
yeah.
So how, when you say you go out and, you promote fostering, etc., and you go to sort of the faith community as well, and over the last few years, I know Shadim has been on my program a few times, we've done quite a few programs here as well. So this call for more and more foster carers has been going on for quite a few years now. And like I say, the promotional campaign continues. Have we seen an increase in people like Shaheen and others, who are sort of becoming more and more encouraged and more willing to become foster carers now that they probably see Shaheen, she goes and talks to other families, and I'm sure they'll want to emulate what she does. Have you seen an increase in that?
There's a nationwide shortage, but comparatively speaking, Bradford is doing quite well.
Right.
In terms of the number of inquiries that are coming through and the number of applications that go through to completion and through to fruition, where we have we have approved foster carers. So overall, I think we're doing reasonably well. But having said that, there is still a shortage, because what's happening is, as you're probably aware, there is an ageing population. So there is a number of our foster carers that have been working for us for quite a long time, and then they get to a certain age and they say, right, okay, it's time to hang up our boots, as it were, and they want to retire. So we're losing foster carers at a similar rate to the number of people that are coming in, so it ends up balancing it out. So we're still working hard to try and bring more people in.
All right, interesting. I mean, obviously, as fostering is the concept of fostering may be something that frightens a lot of people. But I mean, Shaheen, your experience from last time as well, I remember. And I know people have in the past have phoned in and said, we've been married, we've been trying to have a child, it's not worked for 10, 15 years, and then, we decided to go down the fostering route, and we took on a foster child, and within a year or 2 years, Allah blessed them with a child of their own. I mean, I'm sure you probably heard similar stories as well. But your children are obviously grown up, they've got their own children, so you've got grandchildren, and now you've taken on some more children as well. And I must give you my heartiest congratulations, because
Thank you.
You think after you've grown up, your children grown up, you want to rest and relax. Why do you want to take on more responsibility for more kids, right? So, I mean, how do you cope with all that, the pressure and challenge? I mean, you must love it.
We give our children whatever we can give, and brought them up, education, got married, and they settle. But they need us, they need house, they need shelter, so we can provide it, why not?
And how do
and we got time.
Yeah. I mean, time is very precious,
and we
isn't
got
it?
time, yeah.
Yeah. But obviously you're willing to devote your time and energy into looking after other people's children, which is, much laudable, as I say. And on the day of Qiyamah, you'll be a longer head in front of me in the queue, inshallah. But yeah, and your husband and the rest of the family. But, when you talk to other Muslim women and you tell them what you do, what sort of reaction do you get from them?
I had recently took my children to the park this last weekend. This just went well. And and I was walking with them, and they were asking me, they were, because it's close by, I live in all the neighbors, and they're asking me who they are, and I told them they were foster children. And the one lady said, "Can we do it?" And I said, "Can you speak English?" She said, "Yeah." And the other one, she said, I said, "Do you have a place?" She said, "Yeah." And I gave her my number to it. I said, "If you have a talk to your husband and family, do you want to do it, just ring me and I'll pass the number to you who you can ring." So we'll see, whoever I meet, I tell them to just come for fostering, do even one child,
Right.
to make a difference in their lives.
Right.
So come forward. It's,
I think rather than people excluding themselves, sometimes people say, "Oh, we can't do it because of this." I think one mantra that I've tried to promote is try and count yourself in. Let us be the judge of it, whether you're not able to do it, because we are prepared to be a little bit flexible around certain situations.
What are the main criteria of a successful
So
fostering?
originally, you've got to be fit and healthy. You've got to have a clean DBS, so you can't have any criminal convictions,
Right.
or certainly against
Which is
children.
absolutely
You
necessary.
can have, sometimes we get applicants who have got criminal convictions but they were from a long time ago. But we work with those, if you've had criminal convictions against children, then sorry, we wouldn't be able to
Which is
accept you.
understandable,
Which is
yeah.
understandable.
Which is absolutely
One of the
understandable.
criteria is also about making sure that you've got suitable accommodation. So you need to have a spare bedroom. We would expect you to have a medical, and that would be done through your own GP. And we want to make sure that you're fit and healthy and there's no underlying health issues. Ultimately that you are prepared to prioritize children around you. We want foster carers. There's like 3 different schemes for fostering. The first scheme is short-term fostering, so the child might come to you just for a short period of time until we know what's happening with the parents, and then the child might be able to return home. Sometimes that child might have to remain in foster care and they might not be able to return home, and if that's the case, then they would remain in care until they are 18, and if that's the case, then we would want long-term foster carers to look after children. That's Micah for you. He's got those children until they're 18.
Right.
We've talked about Shaheen. She's a short-term carer, so hopefully those children might be able to return home. And then we've also got part-time fostering, Iqbal, where if both partners, if you're working and you can't look after children full-time, what we can do is we can set foster care, set up people who are working to do part-time fostering. So, for example, it might be a case of Micah needing a holiday, Shaheen needing a holiday, and then I potentially might come forward as a foster carer, and I'll say, look, I will have little Johnny while Shaheen, you go on holiday, or Micah, you go away off to Italy for 2 weeks, and I'll have your children. So that's called short breaks fostering,
Right.
or
But
part-time
these
fostering.
the part-time short foster carers have already been approved. So they've
That's
already been
right. Yeah.
accredited,
They would be. They would have to
So
go
they've
through the
been
same
approved.
approval
Yeah, yeah.
process. That's
Yeah.
correct. Yeah.
So if you're a foster carer, a full-time foster carer, and you want to go part-time, it'd be easier to do so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're a full-time foster carer, you
Yeah,
can go
it'll be-
part-time, but
yeah.
we're wanting people to go the other way.
Yeah, I know.
More people,
I know.
not
Yeah.
less.
We need more full-time carers.
That's correct. Yeah.
I mean, Shaheen, obviously, I remember last time, and you said it today as well, that not necessarily taking in children who are from the Asian community background. They can come from any background.
any background.
Yeah. And have you had children from the Muslim community background?
Not yet.
Right, okay.
Not yet.
And so is the local authority trying to match children to their sort of backgrounds, their ethnicity, their faith, etc., or is it something that...
We attempt to. Bradford has a same race placement.
Mhm.
So usually we try to place children
Mhm.
with foster carers that have the same identity or culture as the child. So if potentially Asian children, Muslim children will go to Muslim carers. White children will potentially go to white carers. However, as I'm sure as you can appreciate, that's not always possible.
Oh yes,
So
I understand that. Yeah.
because if there's a shortage of foster carers, there might not always be Asian foster carers available, or there might not be always be white foster carers available. So in those sorts of situations, what we might end up having to do is make a transcultural, transracial placement. So for example, at the moment, Micah
Which is
is looking
inevitable.
after
I'm going to have to
a
stop
child.
you. I'm going to have to stop you there because I think we're about to go for a break. I mean, coming back, I'll talk to Micah about your experience of the children that you've had coming through your family.
Mhm.
I hope you've enjoyed it so far. I'm sure we'll carry on with this subject. Really interesting, really challenging, and something that we need to consider. I'll see you soon. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.